For years, the evidence of Portugal's involvement on Oak Island was speculative. Shared symbols, curious carvings, and historical theories. Many scoffed. But Rick and Marty believed the true builders were a European monarchy, guarding their secret with deadly precision. This season, the island delivered the definitive answer, a royal decree in metal. At a critical depth, a layer untouched by any prior searcher, the tool brought up a piece of wood and, nestled beside it, a heavily encrusted metal artifact. Its placement within the deepest defensive layers screamed of intentionality and immense importance. The discovery was rushed to the cleaning lab. Back in the lab, under the powerful lens of a digital microscope, the painstaking work of conservation began. Each layer of sediment and corrosion was a page from a history book, carefully turned. As the final incrustations were gently brushed away, the artifact's true nature started to emerge from the centuries of darkness. What was revealed was not just a piece of jewelry, but a key. It was an ornate, heavy signet ring, crafted from a gold alloy consistent with 16th century metallurgy. Its face wasn't merely decorated, it was engraved with a highly complex and specific coat of arms. The team's consulting historian, an expert in European heraldry, moved closer to the monitor, her professional composure giving way to sheer astonishment. She immediately recognized the primary motif at the heart of the design. There, unmistakable even after centuries buried in the earth, were the 5 blue shields arranged in a cross, the famous Queenas of Portugal. This symbol alone was a direct link to the Portuguese crown, representing the legendary victory of Portugal's first king. But the details surrounding it told an even more specific story. Her finger traced the outer edge of the shield on the screen. "Look here," she explained, "the red border, the border of goals, charged with 7 golden castles." This addition was critically important. It represented the kingdom of the Algarve and the union with the royal house of Castile, firmly placing the ring's design within a specific era of Iberian consolidation and power. This wasn't a generic emblem, it was a precise political and dynastic statement. The combination of the Queenas and the Castilian castles was the exclusive domain of the Portuguese royal family. The evidence was overwhelming. This was not a merchant's seal or a nobleman's trinket. The weight, the material, and the sheer complexity of the heraldry screamed of ultimate authority. It was a direct, personal signature of the Portuguese royal line, an instrument used to apply the king's own mark to the most sensitive and important documents of the state. Finding it here, buried deep within the Oak Island complex, was a paradigm-shifting discovery. The implications rippled through the room. For over 2 centuries, searchers had chased theories involving pirates, Templars, and British engineers. But this single authenticated artifact ripped up the old maps and pointed a finger directly at one of the most powerful maritime empires of the 16th century. The entire Portuguese mystery, once a fringe theory, was no longer a question of if, but how and why. The search on Oak Island was about to be completely redefined.
After weeks of meticulous cleaning and analysis, the results are in. And they are, without exaggeration, paradigm-shifting. What we have here is undeniable. This is the authentic signet ring of the House of Braganza. Look closely at the heraldry. The defining feature is the saltire, the St. Andrew's cross, charged with 5 escutcheons. This is the unmistakable emblem of the Braganzas, a ducal house that would eventually ascend to the Portuguese throne in 1640. The level of detail, the specific rendering of the crest, it's a perfect match to archival seals from the mid to late 16th century. This wasn't a generic piece. It was a tool of authority, used to impress wax and authenticate documents in the king's name. It's a personal item, certainly, but one of immense public function. Based on its quality and the specific iteration of the crest, it likely belonged to a key noble directly commissioned by the crown, if not a direct royal family member, operating during the height of Portugal's global power in the 16th century. The question of how such a significant artifact ended up over 100 feet deep on a remote North Atlantic island is staggering.
The House of Braganza, a name synonymous with the zenith of Portuguese exploration and empire. In the 16th century, their influence was global, their ships charted the unknown, and their secrets were guarded with lethal determination. To find their seal on Oak Island is to connect this enduring mystery directly to one of the most powerful dynasties in European history. For centuries, theories have swirled around the money pit: pirate treasure, Masonic secrets, the lost jewels of Marie Antoinette, even the Ark of the Covenant brought by the Knights Templar. These romantic notions have fueled the search for over 200 years. But this ring, this tangible piece of evidence recovered from a sealed, undisturbed layer of stratigraphy, cuts through the speculation with the force of historical fact. It doesn't just suggest a new theory, it demands a complete re-evaluation of the entire narrative. The ring confirms that the Money Pit's builders were not just Templars or privateers acting on their own accord, but agents of the powerful Portuguese monarchy.
Therefore, the conclusion is inescapable. The Oak Island Portuguese mystery is solved. The complex was not a pirate hideout or a fraternal lodge. It was a state-sponsored project. It was built by, or for, the Portuguese crown.
This discovery is a definitive solution to the question of: the presence of this ring is the archaeological equivalent of a signed confession found at a crime scene. It provides an author, a motive, and a timeline. The builders were Portuguese, operating under royal authority in the 16th century. The motive was likely the concealment of assets so valuable they required the resources of a nation-state to hide and protect. This wasn't just treasure, it was a strategic reserve, a state secret buried far from the prying eyes of European rivals like Spain and England. This single find fundamentally changes the accepted history of North America. It provides powerful evidence of a significant clandestine Portuguese presence and a high-level construction project on the continent, decades before the established settlements of the French and English. It suggests that while other nations were making tentative voyages of discovery, the Portuguese were already engaged in sophisticated, long-term operations. The entire search on Oak Island is now redefined. It is no longer a treasure hunt for pirate gold. It is an archaeological investigation into a lost chapter of colonial history, a secret project of a global superpower. The focus must now shift from if there is a treasure to what state asset was so important that the Portuguese crown would go to such extraordinary lengths to bury it, and why it was never recovered. The answers to those questions may very well rewrite the books. This ring was placed here as a final, definitive marker. Its discovery fundamentally alters our understanding of the Oak Island mystery, shifting the narrative away from folklore and into the realm of statecraft. For centuries, the prevailing theory involved pirate treasure, a haphazard collection of plundered goods buried in haste. But this artifact, with its clear royal authority, points to something far more significant, organized, and deliberate. It suggests the treasure below is not just gold, it is state wealth, a strategic national asset hidden from rivals by a powerful European king. To comprehend this, we must look at the world in the 16th century. Portugal, a dominant maritime empire, faced constant threats. Its vast wealth, flowing from Africa, Asia, and the Americas, was a tempting target for its geopolitical adversaries, primarily Spain, France, and an increasingly ambitious England. Transporting bullion across the Atlantic was a perilous act, with royal galleons hunted by both state-sponsored privateers and opportunistic pirates. Hiding a portion of the national treasury was not an act of desperation, but a calculated strategic decision. A secret reserve, far from the turbulent politics of Europe, could finance a war, prop up an alliance, or fund a colonial venture without alerting competitors. It was a geopolitical insurance policy. This context reframes the entire Oak Island complex. The immense scale of the engineering, the intricate flood tunnels, the carefully layered shafts, the sheer manpower required, far exceeds the capabilities of any pirate crew. But for a monarchy, it is entirely plausible. The royal architects, backed by the full resources of the state, would have designed the entire island complex as a fortress, a subterranean vault built to protect this fortune for centuries. The flood tunnels cease to be a crude booby trap. They become a sophisticated, self-repairing security system engineered by the best minds of the era. The implications are staggering. The search is no longer a treasure hunt for a pirate's chest. It is a historical recovery of state assets, a mission to uncover a lost chapter of global political intrigue. Every shovel of dirt, every new artifact, is a potential clue in a 400-year-old mystery involving empires and kings. The team on Oak Island now finds themselves not as treasure seekers, but as archaeological custodians of a secret that could rewrite the history of the New World. The Portuguese mystery is solved, and the ultimate clue has been unearthed. The ring has opened the door to the Royal Archives of Lisbon. Rick and Marty have found the definitive answer to the island's architects. The quest for the King's treasure now begins. Please subscribe to our channel, History Documentary Hub, for more insightful videos and intriguing content.